Sri Guru Charana Kamalebhyo Namaha. Kapiladeva says to his mother, "Oh my dear mother, now I shall explain to you the material elements one by one separately, all of them, by knowing which one becomes situated beyond the three modes of material nature." The knowledge of self-realization, following the path of self-realization, is the only way to obtain liberation from this world. Because this path of self-realization severes the tie, cuts the severes material ego of a person, cuts the knot of material ego of a person. Vidyate hirdaya granthi chidyante sarva samsaya. Vedana severes, cuts the knots of ego. The personality of Godhead who covers this universe is present everywhere in the form of light. Due to him, this universe is illumined. He is the soul and super soul of this universe. Tasya bhasa, due to his influence or illumination, due to his light, the whole universe is lit. He is beyond the three modes of material nature. He is the original personality of Godhead. Nobody is his origin. He is residing in everyone's heart in the form of their super soul. And that Lord covers himself with his Vishnu Maya, internal potency, to glance over this material nature, to produce the population, the living entities. After taking birth in the material nature, the transcendental spirit soul occupies a material body and material mind and becomes influenced by the material nature Maya and thinks himself and herself to be the doer. Due to this ownership and ego of I am the doer, this living entity carries on in the cycle of birth and death and suffers. Actually, the presiding deities of the body and senses use the body and senses and get the appropriate work done. But due to false ego, the person thinks that I am the doer. Oh, God didn't come to do that work, I did it. If I wouldn't do it, that work would not have been done. This is called false ego. The soul who lives in the material body is transcendental and not belong to this material nature. But because it is encased in the material body, you just conditioned mind lives in the material world, experiences happiness and distress because of this. Hearing this, Devahūtī mother asked, "O Lord, please tell me the characteristics of the Supreme Lord and his energies, how he creates, how he manifests this universe in the subtle form and the gross form, both I want to know." Hearing this, the Supreme Lord said, "Three modes of material nature, goodness, passion and ignorance, and Mahatattva, the material aggregate, this is called subtle creation of the Lord. When the time factor aggravates this Mahatattva, total material aggregate, five material elements means the gross form of the universe takes birth. At first, five material elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, manifests. Then comes five working senses, hands, legs, mouth, like that. Five material, both bottom, secret parts. And then five knowledge acquiring senses appear: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. Then five sense objects appear: the sound, the taste, the smell, the sight, and touch. And then mind, intelligence, and ego, including soul. Total 24 elements are required to get the work done. These are the ways to get the work done. This is the only way. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, these are the main elements required to consist the body. These 24 elements, when they unite with the time factor, they become 25 in total. Oh Mother, using this, the Supreme Lord gets all kinds of work done required in this material world. But due to false ego, the living entity thinks that he is the doer. This is the play of Maya. That's why the living entity suffers birth and death, pangs of birth and death. Plus remains always scaredness. By whose will? In this material nature, passion exists. That form of the Lord is called time factor, Kala, or death personified in another meaning of it. But here is the word time factor. That Supreme Lord, by his own will, using his Maya, sits in the heart of every living entity as Paramatma, and outside of the living entity, he lives as Kala, time factor. Then the same Supreme Lord glances over material nature to place his semen to create in this universe. When he desired like that, Mahatattva manifested. And then he covered himself with Maya. No, he covers himself with Maya and drinks the darkness of ignorance. He drinks that Maya. Then the symptoms of Mahatattva is explained by the Lord to his mother, that how the sound combined with Maya produces air, how air aggravated by Kala produces fire, how fire influenced by Kala time factor produces water, how water aggravated by time factor produces earth. he explained that. These 5 elements consist the universe, in which there are 14 planetary systems, 7 down and 6 up. This is the 7th one. 7 and 7 in the bottom. When, after creating this egg-like universe, the Lord made sure this universe is covered by water, which is 10 times then the size of the universe, then covered with fire, then 10 times it's like that, covered by the air, then 10 times that is covered by the sky. Each layer is 10 times more than the previous one. Like that. Outside of these covering, total covering of 5 elements is Mahatattva. Outside of Mahatattva is the causal ocean in which the Lord rests on Sesa serpent in a Vishnu form. This Vishnu form makes a hole, pierces the covering of the universe. From him comes out first mouth, whose work is eat and drink and speak. Then comes out nose, whose work is to smell. Then comes out ears, whose work is to listen. Then comes out eyes, whose work is to see. Then comes out the tongue, whose work is to taste. Then beard, hairs, skin pores, they come, from whom food grains and herbs appear. Then his private parts, genital appears, from whom these oceans appear. Then rectum, from whom the presiding deity of death appears. Then comes hands and legs and veins and nerves, blood. Then comes stomach, hunger and thirst. All this appeared. Then appears his heart. Then mind, intelligence and ego appear. Then the demigods appear, who presided over the material senses. Then this same Lord, by whom this material nature is illumined, that Supreme Lord is called master or owner or husband of this creation, material nature. Nature means female, and the boss of the material nature is God, that Vishnu form. That's why sometimes he's called Purusha. Purusha means male, of this material nature, female. Then the same Lord took the form of Paramatma and entered in every living entity whom he had created as their super soul, to witness their activities. Then he acted as the best friend of those whom he created. He became the soul of all the souls, source of all the souls. Then the Supreme Lord Kapila says, Tasmin pratyagatmanam dhya yoga pravrittaya bhaktya viraktaya jnanena vivichyatvani chintayet. O Mother, all living entities, especially the human being, should worship this same Supreme Lord using path of devotion, devotional service, and try to remain detached from material affairs. keeping mind and senses controlled together, controlled, using the knowledge of scriptures, should remember and meditate that Supreme Lord and try to satisfy Him using all activities of their body to be peaceful and happy. Thank you very much.